have, and it's incredible.
This is LTV.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated, and by Landmark Self-Storage in Leominster, landmarkselfstorage.com, and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated, DeCarolisinsuranceagency.com, and by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank creates success, enterprisebanking.com.
You can keep pointing all day, but nothing happened. What do you want me to do? Is it on? I don't see anything.
Invalid format.
Unless maybe it's just this camera. Is it? What's the matter? Am I on?
You're on.
Okay. That's all I care about. I don't have to see myself. I'm fine with that. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor. And our phone number hasn't changed. I can see myself right here, right on my phone. 978-534-1626. And good afternoon. Yep, there we are. We're now on. I want to thank our sponsors from Landmark Storage, Enterprise Bank, DeCarolis Insurance, and Crowley Development Company. We want to thank all those sponsors. And we'll go right to the phones because I'm sure this guy's been busy lately. And so I have a full report coming up with Art. Art, are you there?
We are here.
Time for the Art report.
Hey, this is the big weekend, baby. Daytona. Daytona, all you fans out there that like racing.
Doesn't it usually rain the weekend of the Daytona?
Not this year. The
No?
forecast
Okay.
is out, and it's going to be beautiful.
I always wanted to go.
Well, it's sold out.
Of course it is.
Sold out, and they lifted any and all restrictions. 101,500 people.
Wow.
That's the grandstand. Another 30,000 in the infield.
Wow.
That is a lot of hot dogs, my friend.
I'll take
42 cars starting, and the pole this year was down a bit. It was 181 miles an hour. They're trying to slow them down. It's also this is the first year of the new car. They designed a new car to try to slow down some of the teams had an advantage with number of cars, sponsorships, because money buys speed. That's an old saying from the race days. Money buys speed.
Does it buy
and
safety?
Some four-car teams and the single-car team, they didn't have a chance because the more cars you got, the more experimenting you can do, and you can do more wind tunnel testing, blah, blah, blah. And sponsorships are up. It's a small team gets about 14 to 15 million a year. The big teams double that, and it's a very expensive sport. What they did was to try to even the playing field. They designed a chassis and a body for each manufacturer, and they're all the same, right down to the degrees of welding and the setups. And they said, this is what you're going to race with.
Yeah.
Sunday's going to be interesting from a standpoint that will it be a domineering sport? Will somebody take off like they usually do in draft and leave everybody in the dust? Or will they stay together? And then again, if you stay together at 200 miles an hour, you make one little mistake.
You're done.
And out.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
Well, you can watch
I went there once. The place is enormous.
Yeah. You can watch from home.
Yeah, it's much better at home. But Pocono now, that's a wonderful track in Pennsylvania. That's only 6 hours away.
Yeah.
Front straightaway is 10,000 feet long. Longest straightaway in racing.
Well, 6 hours for you. I drive like an old guy. 7 hours for me.
Well, no, back in the day, 6 hours. They would take, I have to stop halfway and go to bed.
Yeah.
But it's, I had one of the highlights of my racing career from the public, from writing and stuff, was going down there with Ronnie Bouchard, God rest his soul. And I brought some friends. And he was a generous kid, I'll tell you. He goes in there, he calls us over and he says, come on, I got to go sign in to the office. So we go in and he goes, this is my crew from Fitchburg, sign him in. So he got everybody into the garage area on the house.
Wow.
You're
a VIP.
Here comes the pace car. He pulls up and he's in it. I said, what are you doing in the pace car? He said, you want to go for a ride around the track? I'll show you the track. I said, sure. I hop in. I figure he's going to putt around. That was a stupid decision. He's doing about 130 down the straightaway. He's about 2 inches off the wall, and he said, and he's talking the whole time. He's telling me what he does when he's racing. It was very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Well, I always wanted to. I think Daytona's pretty interesting. Plus, a nice time of the year to go down. I had a friend that used to be big time into rodeo, and he was always bugging me to go to the rodeo. Never been.
That would be fun.
Well, he said it's a lot of fun.
In a bronc rider, but he hurt the horses when he got up in the saddle.
But he said
the stress.
It's a big party, is what he said. The whole rodeo thing is a big social event.
But you know, he was in a bronc and he had about 8 hot dogs before he got on the horse.
Yeah.
So halfway to the second jump with the horse, he threw up.
Oh.
Then the horse followed. End of story.
All right, Art.
Before he starts. Have a good day.
Yeah, before your buddy starts in on you.
That's right.
All right. That was Art from the Art Report. Thank you, Art.
You're welcome.
Talk to you soon. Be well. 978-534-1626 is our phone number. Bennie DiNardo is our guest. Bennie, thanks for coming on again. Bennie was the former associate editor of business at the Boston Globe. He helped drive the effort to create the Twin Cities Rail Trail, sits on the Rail Trail Steering Committee and serves as the clerk. The Rail Trail Facebook page has more than 2,000? followers?
I think it's like 2,500.
Yeah, it's up there.
It's up there.
And the new website has just been announced, and it's TwinCitiesRailTrail.com.
No rail.
No
Twin
rail.
Cities Trail.
Twin Cities Trail.
TwinCitiesTrail.com.
There you go. That's easy
And
enough.
if you get it wrong, they'll send you to someplace in Minnesota.
Will it?
Yeah.
Anyway, you can always just click Twin City Rail Trail. It'll probably take you there, I hope.
If you
Right?
search for it, it should take you there.
Yeah. Like Leominster, we've gotten so much search engine optimization now that if you hit anything Leominster, city pops up.
All right. Well, maybe I'll send it to your experts to tweak our website.
It just keeps coming up. Anyway, everyone's excited. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
And
Very excited. Nobody's going 180 miles an hour down the rail trail, though, I'll tell you that.
No, let's hope not, because. But this is exciting. The momentum's building.
Yeah.
Now we've I think reached a point where it's. So when is this all going to happen? You know, and there's some final pieces left. Yeah, June. June is the new date. They've moved it up. At first it was March,
right.
And the release date.
I don't
for that.
think March was a good date anyway.
Yeah.
You couldn't. The plantings might not all be in place. I think June's a better time. Fitchburg was a little concerned because it's not going all the way to the train station just yet. So there were no parking spots in Fitchburg.
Right.
Leominster has Doyle Field,
right.
Carter Park, and there's so they added a few parking spots in Fitchburg to tide us over until we get all the way to the train station in Fitchburg.
And that makes total sense.
Yes.
What a project. I mean, when I start thinking about it from the very beginning, how many abutters and all the obstacles to get through.
You guys had a lot to deal with in Leominster.
And then we lost the culvert behind Longhorn.
Right.
Nobody, it's one of those things where you don't realize how big a bridge is till you actually get out there and stand there. And when we
that
had
culvert just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And it's this giant hole left. That wasn't part of the original project. So here we are. I don't like to look back. I like to just look forward.
I was just there today. I just went there this afternoon, and the bridge is finished. It's beautiful.
Awesome.
It's really nice.
It's really nice.
These are two great bridges that we have
people
on this
excited.
trail.
Caller, welcome to the show.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's going on, Crystal?
Hannaford was steady today.
Was it busy? Yeah?
Busy today, yeah.
Well, tell them they close at 10.
Hi, Bennie.
I'll be in at 10 to 10. Right?
Yeah.
I'll be in at 10 to 10. I'm famous for running through the last
the
4
manager.
minutes. He's Mark?
Yeah, he's funny.
He's a good guy. Mark's a good man. Hannaford's going to be helping us out with the 3-day, with the Gardner Relay for Life cancer fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So Mark's a good man, and Hannaford's a good store. Hannaford at the old Lancaster Street. Did you work there at all?
I did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You can't be a part of that family and not work in the store.
That's true.
Right.
But
I worked at a couple of them.
me too.
Stock and shelves overnight.
Yeah. I was in produce. I worked all over the place. If Tony said, "Hey, you want to go here?" I said, "I don't care."
Well, I started at Iron Dolly's. I left. Wasn't in the Victory orbit right away.
Ricky Gallant worked at Iron Dolly's for a while.
That is
oh,
true.
you guys were union.
Yes.
Len Richards.
Yes, Len Richards been there forever. But
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
all right. But yeah, they were. I remember Ricky worked there.
Yeah.
I made $1.65. He did like $1.95 or something.
I do remember him working there. Yeah.
And then you came to the real world of Victory.
I like groceries. I still like grocery stores. They're fun.
I
they're
love
an
retail.
interesting business.
I love retail. It's fascinating. I mean,
I got you a flag customer, by the way. David Streb's going to come and buy a flag at your store.
About time, Dave.
My flag is holding up great. I'm very pleased with the purchase.
Good. Yeah, retail's fun, but look at how it started these little corner stores here in Leominster all across the country. They got a little bigger than Victory, and then that wasn't big enough, so they built a bigger Victory.
Yeah, Victories used to seem like big stores, and now they'd be tiny little things.
And when I saw, I could never fathom the whole idea when Walmart, the concept of buying a car battery and a thing of lettuce in the same store.
Lettuce, right.
But now, 2.6 million people work for Walmart.
It's amazing.
1.6 million work for Amazon. It's fascinating, this how we moved from really big, from little corner stores, and then the mall was a big thing, and
now there's no mall.
Now there's no mall. Nobody wants to go to a mall anymore. We've got freestanding buildings. Right. It's amazing how things change. And change is good because it used to be a railroad, and they discontinued the use of it as a railroad, that section of it. So now it's this beautiful rail trail, and I was over, same with you, I caught a nice day and I walked over the bridges and I was like, wow, is this nice?
Right.
You know, it's wooded in some areas, then it opens up, you got, you know, Doyle Field.
Well, one of my first jobs, real jobs, was in Fitchburg, downtown Fitchburg. So I rode my bike every day from Leominster to Fitchburg along Route 12, which you take your life in your hands.
You
doing
and
that.
Elijah Erb? Do you know he still drives his bike every day?
No, but
He's
I
McTurney.
remember, yeah.
Did you ever see him?
But it gets, the traffic's even worse
Oh,
now.
no,
It would
you
be.
don't want to do that.
So one of the things I like to point out to people is that this is not only a benefit for cyclists and pedestrians, but for the drivers too.
Yeah.
That's a narrow road with people going fast, so there'll be less hazards when you're driving up and down Route 12.
I think people are going to be surprised the amount of people that use it for transportation to
Right.
get to a job. People
Right.
that work in the hotels or service-related
So
business.
that's one of the questions, actually, I was going to ask you. Do you think the trail should be plowed in the wintertime?
Well, the answer is yes and no. Like some of the parking lots that we did, you know, what happens is like one of the storms, you live up in Wolfboro, so
Right.
you got more snow probably than
Right.
we did.
You get more. You
Temperature
get a lot
change.
here.
We did.
Yeah.
Boston got more
When it
than
comes
us.
up from the south, you guys
But
get all
believe it
the
or
snow,
not,
yeah.
Boston got more than us.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes if you know what the weather pattern's going
Right.
to be, you plow it.
Right.
In this case, we plowed.
But it left the icy.
Then it got icy after. Now
Right.
you're left with that. That's
Right.
worse because now you don't really want to encourage people to come.
Right.
But, you know, now it's, you know, from here on in,
But
the sun is
some
strong.
towns like to leave the snow on so people
can
can
cross-country.
ski.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that there's so many businesses along the way that people will use that as a
It's a
commuting
necessity.
path
It's
to their
necessary.
jobs.
Sure.
Right.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about your uncle because I assume by reading this, I read this and I said, I think Benny wrote this.
He did.
And
I did.
Yeah, I figured you wrote this.
Because it was bad or because it was
no,
good?
No, it was just a good story. And I knew your uncle because he worked at the Fitchburg Access
Right, he did.
Television. There.
That's right.
Very quiet man.
Very quiet
Didn't
man.
bring a lot of attention.
Right.
Was
But
that your mother's
My mother's brother.
That's what I thought.
That's her youngest brother. yeah.
Right.
Piccolo. There was another Romolo in his house who was called Big Romolo. So Piccolo Romolo was Little Romolo. So
it.
his nickname was Pix. Uncle
So
Pix.
tell the story because it's a nice story and I
Well,
don't want to ruin it.
he was the youngest child in the family. He never got married. He lived with his parents all his life and sort of took care of them at the end. He and his brothers all went into the service after graduating from Fitchburg High. Then they all together went to UMass, Amherst. They roomed together for 4 years.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Then
that's
they
a
all
good one.
graduated in 1950
So
or
they're
something.
close and they got together. And they got
Yeah, there
along.
was a story in the Sentinel when they graduated. And I don't have it anymore, but it's a fun story. So they all got big jobs. One uncle went to Arabia and worked for the oil company. One worked for IBM. He worked for Stone and Webster Engineering, oversaw some major construction projects around the world, but always came back to Fitchburg. And he commuted on the train every night to Fitchburg. And when I was young, he would take me out for bike rides.
Right.
We'd explore Townsend and those areas. So when he passed away in the 1990s, he, as I said, never married. He was a good investor. He left a significant sum of money behind. And I thought, well, we should use some of that for something. And that's when, I think it was 2004, that you and I got together and said, there's this little chunk of money for the trail whenever we get it done. And here it is only 18 years later, and we've done it.
I hope it was an interest-bearing account.
Yes, no, the fund is now twice as large as it was
right.
then. So.
Good.
But I'm so happy to be able to honor him. Because, you know, my mother's from Fitchburg, my father's from Leominster.
Right.
So this is a nice way to tie the two cities together. And we like to fool around on Thanksgiving Day, but we have much more in common that we have to break us apart, keep us apart.
John
so.
DeChico had an uncle, same thing. That was same sort of thing.
Right.
He never married, and he did well, and he was a nice guy. He was on all our building projects for the schools in the city, and it's just a nice story,
Yeah.
you know. And
well,
giving
John's
back.
my cousin, so I'm.
How are you related to him? To your father?
No, his mother lived with my mother's family.
Oh.
His grandmother was my grandmother's sister.
Wow.
And she passed away. And of course, the father was not capable of raising, because fathers couldn't do that in those days. So my grandmother essentially raised his mother.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
like a sister to my mother.
Right,
but
right. Wow. That's
it's
amazing.
it's strange coincidences.
And the rail trail goes right behind
Right
his
back.
house.
I was behind his house today checking it out. You guys did a nice job making sure there was fencing in there and to keep
We listen to every single abutter.
I was amazed how patient you and your staff were. You didn't give in to anybody, and you were firm with them, saying, "Look, you used this land for a long time, but you're not going to use it anymore." But you also listened to when they had real concerns, you addressed them.
How can we accommodate you and make this work? And there were over 100 abutters that we had to deal with. So,
now we're going to go and ask them for money.
Exactly.
We have a list of all of them now.
There you go. Kick it in.
Because as you know, in most rail trails, some of the abutters are not supportive at the beginning.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they see it and they see what an amenity is. When they go to sell their property, they list it right next to the rail trail.
I see it all the time, right? A quarter of a mile.
So you know and I know that in 3 or 4 years they're going to love this trail.
Invest, buy along the rail trail. 978-534-1626. Bennie DiNardo is my guest, and the website is up and running. It's TwinCitiesTrail.com.
Got it.
And so now begins the process. So we have a partnership with the Rail Trail Association, and now it's forward thinking. It's been on the table for a while now. Okay, so we build this, we open it in June, and then things need to get done. The side areas need to be mowed, and there is maintenance that has to be done. So why build it and then turn the keys and throw the keys to the cities and say, okay, it's all yours now.
Right.
The idea is to build a team of volunteers that can help, and build a partnership between the cities and the Rail Trail Association. So now kicks off the fundraising part of it all.
Right. So my uncle's fund has contributed $50,000 to start that off. We'll soon be asking people to contribute any way they can.
Right.
Because when we met with you and your staff and Fitchburg staff, the police department, the DPW director, everybody's very supportive, but they all have a lot of responsibilities already. They're not eager to take on additional ones.
Right.
So we're hoping, and we just learned today that Fitchburg is going to approve the same agreement that we shared with you in Leominster, so that we can take on some of the regular maintenance, not the major capital needs and projects, because the two cities will own the trail.
Right.
You do own the trail.
Absolutely.
But we would like to be able to help mow, as you said, a couple times a year, and maybe plow in the winter time, and organize groups of volunteers to pick up the trash, because the state and the federal government have spent $18 million in these, and they're leaving us this beautiful trail, and it's up to us to make sure it stays that way.
It's going to be exciting. So many people, everywhere I go now, the buzz is the whole rail trail. People can't, they watch the thing, they've heard about it, talked about for so long. They probably went through a phase where they get excited at the beginning and thought maybe it's never going to happen.
Right.
Then it kicked into excitement.
But now you can see it.
You can actually see the product.
Right.
And it's been difficult because the state has called me often and said, "We tell people to stop." I'm like, I don't tell people to go down there. They see it now. That's pretty much, they put the right sign up, which said rail trail is closed.
Right.
Before they had road closed. People were confused. Some days the gate was open, some day what. I'm like, of course they're going to walk down.
Well, it's very attractive to want to go there. So yes, we would like people to stay off for another couple months, because there's construction vehicles on there and some work that needs to be done still.
They're doing all the punch list stuff and bringing the supplies. There'll be some lights they have to put at the intersections.
Right.
And then hopefully, we're still working with the railroad on the last section.
Right.
That looks promising.
Any updates for us on that?
I got a nice phone call with a counterpart from the MassDOT.
Oh, okay.
And we had a great conversation about some funding potential.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. So we're back on it with the railroad. We have a fresh appraisal.
Well, I walked that little stretch before, and there's that little part right near where Rockdale's used to be. There's a beautiful bridge right there, and you can see all these old mills that used to be right along the road. Same in Fitchburg too, along the Nashua. There's dams that I never knew were there.
Yes, absolutely.
And
little waterfalls.
It's going to allow people to rediscover these rivers that go right through their downtowns, and you just pass by them every day and you don't really think about them. But I just drove past there, and many people have renovated those old mills into beautiful apartment buildings, and it's nice to see. Your downtown looked very lively
it's
today.
Coming along, we're getting there. Many years of little, then, we 2 steps forward to get the recession.
That's the way it always is.
Another 3 steps forward, right?
Yeah.
So you moved to Wolfboro. Are you there full time now?
Now they're full time.
It's a nice little town right on the
right on the lake. Yeah.
Right on the lake
Where
there.
our house isn't on the lake because that would have cost a little bit more.
Yeah,
But
a little more
you got to
frugal.
know people on the lake, but you don't have to be on the lake.
You're a little more frugal than
right.
that.
And you come up every once in a while and shop.
I came across the town. I came across the town by accident many years ago.
Yeah.
My cousin lives in Gilmanton.
Okay.
And I don't know if I was going out there to visit him, but I took the long way kind of thing and around.
Yeah, it's not a town you know about, but when you get there, it's like, oh, this is a nice little place.
The first time I got there, they were having like an antique wood
they do that
show
every
or
summer,
something.
right.
And I thought, wow, what a pretty cool town, you know? So we actually, Boston, yesterday at our MassDOT meeting, they were saying Boston actually got more snow than we did this year.
Yeah.
It's just how,
Just
you know,
the way the
strange
patterns come. If it
how
comes up
things
from
worked.
the south, yeah.
And so you've been out of the newspaper business for a little while.
A little bit. I'm just got a hand in it a
Yeah,
little bit.
but I
here.
mean, it's changed,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
a
from
lot.
the first days that it started.
Right.
I was saying today, we were talking, we had a meeting today with some people. I was saying that when I first ran for office, everybody read the Sentinel and Enterprise
Right.
or the Telegram, or both.
Right.
One came in the morning, the other one came in the afternoon. Then, you know, digitalization of everything. Today, you can't just be in one spot. Information comes from everywhere.
But you're not always sure it's
That's the problem.
accurate.
Sometimes it'll say ad.
Yeah,
It'll be in with all the
right.
news articles.
Yeah.
Or it's some fictitious group that made up
Right.
something that looks like.
Or people spread rumors on Facebook that
Right.
you don't know are true or not. So I see you jumping in a lot just to try to correct the record. Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't care. Maybe we disagree on things, or
Yeah.
you know, but at least I want you to have the right information.
right.
And getting the correct information
Yeah,
out
I don't.
is tough.
I admire people in your position now because it's a much different way to communicate with the
Right.
world. I mean, you don't. Right, they used to 3 or 4 reporters used to come to your office every day, and you'd be
Right.
able to talk about the news. And now
You can't.
there's not even 3 or 4 reporters who work for the Sentinel, but they
No,
have 2 or 3.
they
and
just can't.
The editor is in Lowell,
Yeah.
and you know.
And they're just doing the best they can.
Right.
They're trying to hang in there. But online has provided us with a instant, you know, they can be
Right.
able to put it, whereas you
true.
didn't have to wait for the newspaper
Yes,
tomorrow.
right.
Like most of what I have on Twitter is news.
Yeah.
And then there are all these other places you get your news.
Yeah, no, it's different.
It's totally different, but
Right.
you get snippets, and if you're interested,
Yeah.
you continue on.
Right.
But you work for the Globe, and they're still alive out there.
Yeah, it's working. The website has that started when I was there, and I was instrumental in getting it going. It's now got 200,000 subscribers. It's one of the better regional sites because people, if you're the New York Times, you can draw customers from all over the world.
Right.
So you only have to skim off the cream of the crop, and
Right.
you'll have a lot of. And if you're a New England site, your audience is already limited to just geographically.
So to have that many is actually a good
yeah,
thing. And then obviously people buy ads on that.
Right. But the subscription income is much more important online than the advertising income.
It is, huh?
Yeah, yes.
Well, they get you. They start you off for $1 for a week, and then
Right.
and then you're like, hey, I got to keep. Wall Street Journal does the same
Right.
thing.
But most online advertising now, either Google or Facebook controls it all. And it's,
Right.
So in a way, it's better because the news organization is less beholden to the advertisers. But there are some theories that tends to skew the way you cover things. Because when you're an ad-supported news organization, you have to sort of play it down the middle so that advertisers feel comfortable around
Right,
there.
right.
If all of your subscribers are left of center, you might eventually, the news might start drifting in that direction,
Now,
or vice versa.
when you worked in the business, it's sad because you used to pick up the Globe. Then they even had like a West section. You know, they started to reach out to other areas. It was fun. It was educational and fun to see what was going on in other parts of the state
Right.
with one newspaper.
Yep.
And obviously the business section covered stories around New England
Right.
that were really interesting that I would never have known about.
Right.
And today you almost got to go searching for some of
I
this,
know,
to find the content.
it's much more spread out. And there's one central location to find all that stuff.
What would you tell a student today that's at the high school who's interested in journalism?
Well, people are consuming news more than ever.
Yeah.
It's more the organizations haven't figured out the right business models. I mean, it's a very useful and important skill, and you know, it's a time of transition.
Somebody's got to produce
Somebody's got
the
to do it,
content,
yes.
right?
And somehow they will figure out a way to fund all that.
To make money off it.
I mean, the public radio and TV stations are doing really well.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of money. And in Chicago, the public radio station just bought the smaller paper, the Chicago Sun-Times. So perhaps being nonprofits is more a way to go than to be a profit-making enterprise.
It's pretty interesting you should say that, because that seems to be,
Right.
well, it's the old multimedia owning. If you were in the radio business, you were in the radio business.
Right.
If you were in the TV, now it's so vertically integrated.
Because
There's so
the
much.
newspaper can do a podcast and can do video, so it's not so broken out that you can only do radio or only do television. You
And
can
your
do them all.
reporters, Ben Parker. Do you know Ben at all?
I don't
Did you
know.
ever meet Ben? He's from Leominster.
And
Ben.
where is he?
BZ.
Okay.
Does the afternoon news. And so sometimes if I'm listening to RKO, all of a sudden at 5 o'clock, it'll say, Ben Parker with the WBZ 5 o'clock news on RKO.
RKO.
So, you know, they had to pare down, and they just, you know, they've
So they
they're
share
all part of the
resources and stuff.
iHeartRadio, whatever
Right,
they
yeah.
are. So they share news people.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yep.
I don't need 37 different people out there, but it allows them to survive while they figure out the business.
right.
At one time, the Weather Channel, everyone was allowed into the Weather Channel. Now they have millions of subscribers.
Right.
So now they'll give you the basic. But if you want to get the premium and find out what the
Right.
weather's going to be in 3 days,
Right.
now you got to subscribe. But first they sucked us all
Right.
into signing up for
Well,
the thing.
that's-
You become dependent on
That is
it.
the business model.
Well, you're right.
You
And
give away enough free to get people excited about it and see if they'll pay
like
the
a
money.
value added, right?
Right.
Or
Well,
a la
you
carte
know.
thing. What are you willing to pay
Disney
for?
Plus says, we'll give you a month free,
Right.
watch the Beatles, and then maybe you'll see all the other stuff we have and you'll start
Or
paying.
forget you gave us your credit
Forget-
card.
Well, there's that too.
Bennie DiNardo's, we got 4:30. You don't mind hanging around,
I
right?
don't mind.
We just
I
can't
got
talk
nothing else
about
to do.
anything. But
I'm
anyway,
retired.
Bennie DiNardo's with us, and we're talking about the rail trail and then his past experience in the world of journalism. And it must be a big deal when you're the associate editor of the business section of a big newspaper. At the time, it was a big,
Well, before
big
that,
newspaper.
that was my last job. Before that, an even bigger
Right.
job, running the whole website, and that there was 50 or 60 people reporting to me.
That's a
and-
lot. That's
Yeah.
like big time.
Yeah, and actually setting it up and getting it running, that was a big deal. So it was a lot of fun.
Did you ever interview like Paul Cormier from Red Hat? Did you?
The business section would talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, he's a classmate.
Where is he?
He's he sold his house on Elm Street.
Yeah, oh, he did.
Yeah. And just because he was, he was
Yeah.
between things. We got to get him on as a guest sometime.
No. We have to get him to donate to the rail trail. Is what we have to
Well, I'll hook you up on that. But he's awesome, honestly. For other things that we've done in town.
do. Is he involved in anything else now, or is he?
He's a phone call away.
Yeah.
He's been awesome. Last year when
Is he kicking back, or is he doing some other work?
I don't
or
know that you could
consulting?
kick back in that business.
But I thought he stepped back as the CEO.
Yeah, but when you on the Securities and Exchange and you're
Yeah.
all that part of that thing, and then you sell to another company,
Yeah.
and that company buys you, they want you to stay on a certain amount of
see.
time. And
All
I think
right.
he was slowly,
Okay.
trying to, I saw him one day. We were kidding about something, and he goes, "I don't know how you do it," and I said, "I don't know how you do it." They had like 13,000 employees,
Yeah.
Red Hat across the world. The guy
And
was on
his story is an amazing one because he started at digital, like working after
maintenance,
school.
I think.
Yeah.
I think he said he was outside doing maintenance. I'll get him on sometime, but he's been great. I mean, when we
Yeah.
needed, we were trying to get Chromebooks for kids
Yeah.
during the whole pandemic,
Right.
and he was my first. He called me,
Oh.
said, "Hey."
Yeah,
Can I help?
he's an amazing success story.
And what's great about him is he's like you. If you haven't seen him in 20 years,
Right.
you can pick up the conversation just like, that's the good part.
Right.
Some people look at me and say, "Who are you?" I don't remember you. I don't remember. I went to school with you. We sat next to each other. We hung around. I don't remember you. It might be selective, right? Anyway, just maybe 20 minutes left here, and we're talking about the rail trail, we're just talking about things. People always like the show when we're just talking about things.
Okay.
When there's
It's your show.
but yeah, he's a good guy. I'll hook you into the thing. But he's very, he never forgot Leominster. He only sold his house like a couple years ago, but he's mostly in Boston. That's mostly where things are. But that is a success story. We're talking about Paul Cormier, who ended up being one of the founders, I guess, of Red Hat.
I don't think he was a founder, but he ended up being the chief
He
executive.
ended up being he's the guy that was, and so one day I said to him, "Paul, you got to explain something to me." And I feel embarrassed to ask you, but what is the Cloud anyway, right? I mean, they were really the pioneers in the Cloud. And they started that business, and Red Hat is huge, just a big company. But he's done well, never forgot where he came from. All his friends are still...
Really?
Oh, yeah, he still hangs around with...
No, when we were in high school, getting a job at Digital was a big deal for people.
You had to know somebody.
Yeah. And a lot of our classmates worked there. And it was...
Art used to work there. The guy was
such
on
an
the
amazing
beginning.
company, and then it disappeared.
And they paid a lot more money than most other manufacturers in town.
They opened up a place in Gardner.
Yep.
And you knew you were doing well if you got a job at Digital.
Yeah, you had the nice car. You could afford a mortgage. 978-534.
They weren't like us working in the grocery store,
Yeah,
stocking the shelves at night.
Well, you had to have some skilled computers and weren't just you could walk in off the street.
Right.
Generally, you had some sort of a skill. Some people came from the military and had some skills, so they could get a job. He just so happened to be maintenance, and then they needed an inside employee, and then next thing you know,
he's running the company.
He's now running. Yeah, he's up there with the microphone. You ever see the videos?
No,
he's all dressed in black.
Oh,
he's
really?
up there on a big stage. He's got the microphone, the headset, and there's thousands of people out, talking about new products, and one of those things. I'm like, wow, I know that guy.
Yeah.
All right, so if people want to help out and they want to make a contribution, they're getting excited about it. Is there a place right now that they can go?
Well, on the website, twincitiestrail.com, there's a donate page, and you can donate right online with your credit card or using Venmo, or if you want to send a check, there's instructions on sending the check. The Central Mass Foundation handles all the money.
Right.
So they've been great for us because they can provide services that of small volunteer.
You don't want to
group
start running an accounting department and all that.
That's another classmate of ours, Tom Bagley.
Tom's great.
He was the chair of the, and I don't think he is anymore, but he's still very involved there.
I just saw Tom. Yeah. Have you seen him lately?
I haven't seen him lately.
He's same.
No.
He looks the same. You can just pick right up a conversation you had with him, and nothing's really changed. He's a good guy.
It's amazing that our classmates are doing these things.
It is. I run into people all the time from all over the place, and we have one of the biggest classes.
Yeah.
Double sessions, staggered sessions.
My sister Jean, her son is a golf pro, and he got a job at Concord Country Club, where Tom is a big deal there. Yeah. That's where he plays, I guess, with Danny Ainge and all those other people that play there. So he's gotten to know my nephew there from golf.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See that? All the way from Tisdale Street. See that? Do you play golf?
Not well.
Me, I don't play golf at all.
I only play 2 or 3 times a year, so I don't feel bad if I stink.
You have a good excuse. You can tell everybody.
Yeah,
total disclaimer here. I only play a couple times a year. All right.
I ride bicycles. That's what I do.
I know you do. You go all over I mean, you've been everywhere.
Well, in April, I'm doing all up the East Coast, Florida to Maine.
Wow.
64 days.
And on trails mostly? They all connect?
No, this is a lot of roads.
And then connect where you can connect kind of thing?
Right.
In Florida, they have an amazing trail system.
They do have some nice trails in Florida. I'm really
it's
looking
laid
forward
out
to
different.
it. Yeah. I'll be helping to lead a group doing that.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
You went up into Canada at one particular point?
Several times up in Canada, yeah. It's beautiful up there when you can cross the border.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Don't bring a truck. Don't bring a truck there. All right, let's do some slides here. We got to kind of update everybody's to what's on.
Okay.
You hang in there, Ben, and we're going to... There's our Monoosnock Brook Walkway, which eventually the rail trail connects to it. Right. This is the side of the old... We're doing this big project over there on Monoosnock Brook, and it's going to look totally different, but this part will stay, and it's going to transform into this beautiful area downtown. And how many places can say they have a river running through there, running right through their downtown? Okay. I don't know how to get to my next slide. No? Yes. Watch. It's all in a switch. See? There you go.
There it is.
There's our COVID-19 update. Confirmed cases. Across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, about 77,000 people were tested. This does not count home test kits. 1653 tested positive. That's a much better ratio, but still too many. 256 new cases in Worcester County, 46 deaths, 1 is too many. If you look down, we have dropped, I'll give you the list in a second here, but we were almost at 2,000 a month ago. over a 14-day period. We're now down to 258. We'll get another count probably later sometime today. There are 4,000 beds, Benny, in Massachusetts, hospital beds. And just a couple of weeks ago, about that same time, after New Year's, hospitalization was at 3,000.
Yeah.
Well, you can see there we're down to 832. That's a good trend. We're down 60 from yesterday.
It does feel like we've passed a peak. And
it does.
As we're heading into the warmer weather, it might be better for
when 2/3 of the hospitals are filled with people with COVID related.
Yeah.
So intensive care is down 7, but still down, and then intubated is down to 76. So moving in the right direction. And again, I say this is now kicked into living with COVID, but common sense.
Right.
The number I can show you, and I don't think I have the slide, but it'll show you that most people who are really in the hospital and sick have been vaccinated, but are over the age of 80 or 79. Common sense says that when you're near somebody like that, and they have comorbidities, or they've got pre-existing conditions, throw a mask on.
Right.
It can't make things worse,
or,
right? We can have
take a home test the day before you go to
before
see
you
them.
go,
Yeah.
right? You know you're going to go, then, hey, look what it is. It's My Way Day. It is. It's National Cabbage Day, National Cafe a Latte Day. How do you say that, Benny?
Cafe au lait.
Olay Day. Yeah. There you go. Random Act of Kindness Day and World Human.
What's My Way Day? Does it have to do with
Spirit.
Frank Sinatra?
Frank Sinatra. Who wrote the song?
I don't know who wrote the song.
I think
Paul Anka or something?
Paul Anka wrote the song. Because there's a big story about how Frank was ready to just wash up, just, hey, it's my time is gone, blah, blah, blah. And,
really?
And he wrote a song and sent it over to Frank and said, Frank, what do you think? And he already, I like it. And then it rejuvenated his
career.
His career, yeah. So there we are. We're at 87%. Well, we'll know today if that goes up at all, but it goes up incrementally, like 1%. You reach a certain point,
right,
and then it's 1% and
right.
1%.
Because you got all the easy ones.
Exactly. So you can see, just started being able to give the vaccine to kids that are 5 to 11 years old. So they're at 43%, but everybody else is up there. Those are good numbers for an urban community. So you can follow police station progress. They're on Central Street at LeominsterPoliceStationProject.com, and also there's the new rail trail.
Where's that at? The construction has begun, right?
Yeah, it's right after Garapi's on the left.
Right. But is the steel up yet, or are they still
foundation.
the foundation?
They've been working on the foundation, pouring concrete for a month. Restaurant Week next week, and there's a list of everybody participating. And more information, you can go to leominster-ma.gov and give you a whole list of exactly of what everybody's doing. So leominster-ma.gov. And maybe there's some of those restaurants you have not tried, and it's a perfect, opportune time to try them all out.
So if we have an event to celebrate, I was thinking we should hit all the restaurants along the trail. And
Absolutely.
Say, bring a food truck or a table so that you can let people know that if you want a frap along the way, or if you want a taco or something.
We got businesses all along the way.
Yeah, I'll bet you within a couple of years they're going to have little tables outside facing the trail.
And the one that goes through Pepperell into New Hampshire, the busiest spot is that ice cream place in the downtown Pepperell.
Ice cream places are very...
It's the place that brings in the most
Let's open up an ice cream stand, you and I.
All right. See, now you're thinking. And we don't need to make any money. We can just be happy doing it.
Making money would be nice.
A little money's okay. Help needed at Shoalin Farms. Joanne DiNardo is looking for help up there. And so if you've never pruned, they'll actually teach you how to prune trees. And if you have
she's
pruned,
what branch of the DiNardo family?
That's Mumbles and Chicken and all that.
Yeah, all my father's cousins. I never really kept clear what.
That's Mike DiGeronimo's mother.
Yeah. Is
Mumbles and Chicken. That's their family. That's.
She doing okay?
She's she's up there. Age and everything, but from what I heard. Okay, I think she still lives at the house, but
last I heard she was not doing great.
But, but at 90-something, right? Yes. If we make it there, I'm hoping somebody cuts us some
90
slack.
90 would be nice to reach.
I tell my mother, you don't have to remember anything. What are you worried about? 92, there's nothing in the world
92?
you have to worry about.
Is she healthy?
Yeah.
Home?
Or cooking and driving.
Really?
And doing burnouts and Willem Lakefront. Yeah, she's doing all right.
Telling you when you do something wrong?
But I'm just saying, you don't have to worry about anything. You waited your whole life to get to this point. There's nothing to worry about. Yeah, she's doing great. Leominster High School chair raffle. donated by AIS. It's an awesome chair. I sit one every day. It's it's $10 for one entry, 3 for $20. And the winner will be announced next week on the 28th. Just go to Leominster-Rotary.org, and just you can buy your tickets right there. That's the nice part about the internet and technology is that you don't have to do things like remember people used to go into Allen's to pay all their bills,
Right.
gas bills, the cable bill, electric bill.
That was my mother. She didn't mail any bills. She went downtown and paid them all.
At least you knew what you were paying, right? No, sometimes you get bills, people pay things, and it might not be exactly accurate, but boy, it's fast to just pay it. School vacation. Now, you can't see all that, but we have school vacation come up, and we really put a lot of emphasis on doing this surrounded by families, making it affordable, and keeping things going for the whole week. So if you'd like to come to the website, leominster-ma.gov, you can see there's something and multiple things happening on every day. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I have to tell you that I came to town early and do some work, and spent the library fixed me up with a little room so I could do a Zoom call. That library is so much better than it was when we were kids.
The glass floors.
That renovation was terrific, and what they did to the old part to make it beautiful again.
That was the best part.
It makes me proud every time to come to town to step in that building and use it.
There were the skeptics who said, nobody goes to libraries anymore. That's all passé. But the library is actually the community center.
Yeah, it is.
That can pivot in a second, use technology, but pivot it in a second to meet the demands of a changing community.
We still need to get together with other people.
Yes, that's a natural. It's like shopping. Shopping's not going away.
Right.
People still have that urge to gather and to shop. So the library, and the funny thing is that when we had the opening, the opening was done on the back section.
Right.
Now remember, you couldn't get into the front stairs.
For years, you couldn't get into the front.
Right.
Yeah.
So the historians immediately, as soon as we opened it, beeline from the back to the front section because they wanted to see what we did, and they were so happy to see. It's
so beautiful. It's really nice to see.
And even that crossover from the old, the new to the old, looks like
it's
fits
handled very nicely. Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time on that
it all
library.
feels like one. Once you're inside, it feels like one place.
At the same time, it was pretty cool. What else do we have? There we go. Something for everybody. Macaroni Kids Crafts, Cartoon Afternoon, Magic Lessons and Magic Show. It's just tons of things going on. And next week, if we can catch nice weather, I'll hook up the hayride and hook up the tractor, and we'll take kids through town. We'll see what happens with the ice downtown. We got that ice rink, and as of last night, it was beautiful down there, but weather conditions could change things. So there it is.
There it is.
It's a beautiful masterpiece, right? The Rail Trail Bridge.
They did a nice. The state has a design for all these bridges now. They just drop it in place.
Yep.
I mean, the Route 2 was closed for like 10 hours, 12 hours, and to put that all together, then they just screw it all together.
And I was there, and it fit perfect. I'm like, how did they align this to fit so perfectly?
Yeah, no, it's great.
There's our new police station site.
Oh, all right, there it is.
And just the forms, the walls are all, like they have to go from below grade up. So everything's pumping concrete. Steel is expected around April 1st.
And what happens to the old building?
We don't know yet. We've had some people interested in it. We may tear it down. The fire department might use it for a little bit of an addition. We haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking, but the worst scenario is it becomes parking because we could really, believe it or not, use it. There's those walls. They're huge. So the footings and the concrete walls continue. Yeah, it's a big building. We had an excellent concert. I shouldn't be surprised, but students love coming to City Hall, despite the fact that they have these
that
schools.
also was beautifully renovated. That auditorium is beautiful.
And they don't get the chance to sit in a balcony or perform in an old historic building.
The balcony is a nice touch in that building.
It's a cool thing. So Skyview did their concert, which they typically would have done during the winter months, but they did it now, and it was a packed house. And people used common sense, had masks on when they needed them, didn't. And what a beautiful night. It really was. 210 Lancaster Street School.
Oh.
My school. Benny went to St. Anna's.
Right. You weren't at St. Anne's?
No, they wouldn't let us in. It's a long story. They wouldn't let us in. Anyway, the fire department took over 210 Lancaster Street, and they've done a remarkable job in there.
That was the one that was a plastics museum for a while?
So they took it over, and it's now their offices.
Oh, it is? Okay.
But training, they do training inside. They
Yeah.
built like a small ranch house inside, and it also will be the dispatch center.
Okay.
So they made good use of it, and it works out because it didn't have very much parking for the building.
Right.
And so we share parking with the school and the church, and we also let the school use the front lawn for kickball and football and all that. So it's perfect. And they've done such a nice job with it. They've had all the latest technology in there, and it's state of the art. Done a great job. There's a new energy efficient heating and cooling systems at 210. We did have to upgrade some things there and upgrade the elevator, but it's a rock solid building, and they put millions into it when they did the plastics museum. So it's great. Putting the windows in down there, and it's just changed the whole character. There we are, Pink in the Rink, helping to raise money for cancer. And this is Kathy DeRusso's charm. There's Mike DeRusso, bottom left. Ray to the right. Joseph DeCaris, that's Richie's brother, Joey. You know him.
Yeah.
That's Joey.
Yeah.
He's out of control. He can get a crowd into a roar.
He does have that DeCarolis look
He
on his
does
face.
have that. I told him, you look more and more like Chasmo every day, and me on the upper left.
That was my father's best friend,
Yep.
Chasbo, yeah.
Sat in row number, section 106.
Where are you there? At the
Top left.
Civic Center? No. What building?
We're
are
in
you in?
the Centrum.
Oh,
What do they
okay.
call it? The DCU Center.
DCU Center, right.
And there's my buddy, Wayne.
That
Where's
is
Wayne
that
today?
is one of the worst things about getting old is things that
They
name
evolved.
changes.
They changed the
do.
name, and I
Right.
still think it's this. Wayne Tate, who's usually running the board back there, he's not here today, but happy birthday to Wayne. And this is another cool historic story. Oh, where's the bell? Can you guys make that video go?
Yeah, give us 1 second.
Okay, go ahead. So they had an old bell in the Kendall Hall up in Engine 3 in North Leominster. And they were able to get not only the bell working, but get it to be automated.
Okay.
So now you know how they have the whistles at 8, noon, 6, and 9.
I heard the whistle today when I was at the library.
And did it scare you?
No, it brought back memories.
And so now, if you live in North Leominster, you'll be able at the same time
To hear the bell?
The bells, and it's fully automated now. So they got this thing running. They're going to show us a little video clip of it. So I actually never remember the bell going off up in North Leominster, but
because that's where that's the rich side.
rich
of town.
people lived
Yeah,
up
we,
there.
We didn't.
We lived
they
on
weren't allowed
6th
up there.
and Tisdale. We never got past the bridge up there, right, Carl?
Yeah, you couldn't go
we
into
never got
that
up
Whalum
section.
Bridge there.
Do you know Marty Salvi?
Yeah.
And Billy Hines were the first people. They lived, Marty lived up on, Marty first lived up on,
We got it.
what street is it? Right up by the...
I know, off Sylvan Avenue.
Well,
right?
no, prior to that,
before that.
he lived on, what's the street? Why is it escaping my mind? Right near the back of the Victory.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
lived.
okay.
He lived there. That's where he lived.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then,
and his father's barber shop was right there.
right, but that's like I never knew anybody that lived in a single family house. All right, show the video. What do we got?
All set.
Here we go. You don't have the visual?
No picture.
You just got that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool because they just got the whistle going again. Well, think about it. 3D printers now, right?
Right.
CNC machines.
Yeah.
And they can make parts today for things that we couldn't get parts for.
Right. No, that whistle brought back a lot of memories when I heard it at noontime. Like,
The original whistle for Kendall Hall
yeah.
is at the Smithsonian.
No kidding.
So next time you're there,
Next time.
Louis Charpentier's.
I'll be there on this bike ride.
Are you going to go by there?
We'll be in
So do you
Washington
already have it
today.
plotted out?
Yeah.
So how do you
People are
get?
paying a lot of money to
Are
ride
they
with
really,
me,
huh?
yeah.
But how do you get? I don't understand the mechanics of it. How do you get to Washington D.C. on a bike? Like
You pedal a
little
lot.
towns, though. I mean,
Yeah.
you literally going through
We're
little
pretty
towns?
much along the coast until you get to Virginia. Then you go towards Richmond a little bit. Then you veer back towards Washington.
Oh, okay.
I'll share you the
like
route.
17. You're coming through like 17. You're coming from the
don't
back
know.
end of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. You go through Pennsylvania a little bit. I
into-
don't know what the numbered roads are. Then you cross the Hudson around Poughkeepsie
Poughkeepsie, yeah.
and get all the way to, when you get to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, then you're on the coast again and you go up the main coast to Bar Harbor and then keep going.
How long does that take?
2 months, 64 days.
You're going to be gone for 2 months?
Yeah.
I mean, who's going to mow the lawn in Wolfboro?
My wife better mow the lawn.
I knew that was coming. Well, Benny, thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank
the
you for
donation.
having me. I'm always happy to be on this show.
Your uncle would be thrilled with this setup
would.
here. And I remember seeing him everywhere when he was there, a fixture. I thought he was a
He
full-time
loved it.
employee over there. He was there so much. And like you said, you tied it all in, right?
Right.
You tied it in with the rail trail biking. So he biked when you were just a kid.
Yeah.
Did he do a lot of biking? I mean,
We would go on a Sunday
Fair amount.
up through Townsend and stuff like that.
no, that's...
Yeah, is your bike all ready to go?
I've got both, and I'm going to bring them down and make sure they're in tip-top shape.
When are we going to convert to e-bikes? I hope it's like until we get to be 70 or so that we need the electric assist.
I don't know.
You're ready for it now? Is that what
No,
you're saying?
I won't admit to it yet. Not yet. I'll just keep driving on flat surfaces.
Well, this rail trail's nice and flat.
That's what I'm saying. I'll just keep to that, the e-bike thing. Do you know, I don't know if you remember this, what was her first name? Pritchett. What was her name? Jennifer Pritchett. Jennifer Pritchett's father.
Okay.
Mr. LaStella. A bunch of them got together, and they actually invented an automatic transmission bicycle.
Oh, no
We're talking
kidding.
40-something years ago. But it was very heavy. You know, you can invent something, but then you got to get it to market. Right? And that's the hard part, is to do it.
So you didn't have to shift.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was like a billion years ago. These guys were way ahead of their time.
There's still not really automatic bicycles, are there?
No.
Yeah.
No, not they automatic, automobiles. Anyway, Benny, thank you. It's been a thrill to have you here. We'll keep you up to date, even if maybe you can zoom in sometime or Skype in from your bike and let us know where you're
possible.
at. How are
I'm
things
happy
going.
to
That'd be
update
fun,
you.
right? We can do that. Yeah, Cal knows all about it.
Zoom
Are we
or
out of
so.
time? You haven't made the ceremonial Digger Odell advancement to the
Did you
inner...
say happy birthday to Carl, too? Wasn't it his birthday
Carl's
recently?
birthday was the other day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Carl's a year older than us.
I know.
He graduated a year.
You can tell.
He's
We're much
trying
more
to tell
youthful,
me
aren't we?
he skipped 3 classes. That's what he tried to tell me. Remember, it was a big deal if you skipped class. They didn't do it too often. Did you? You didn't skip, right?
No, I was asked about it, and I said, I don't
They didn't ask me to skip. They asked if I wanted to remain another year. That's what.
Mr. Baker, who just passed away
just
recently,
passed away,
he in his history class, he said, you should like move up a notch. And I said, I don't want. I want to be with these. These are my people. I don't want to. You don't want to stand out at that point in your life. You want to blend in. Now I don't care about it.
Now it's like, you get me a year off, I'll take it any day. Well, I think the neat part about technology is students who are, remember, you could only go so far. There was no advanced courses or anything. So today,
there's a lot more available.
You can
to them,
take college courses in the 10th grade, 9th grade, or whatever. That's, that's a good part about technology.
But you do miss the social part of it.
Well, that's why I went to school. I mean, that was a very important
So
part
you
of
weren't
it.
at St. Anne's. When did Gallagher Junior High? Is that when we
met? But I remember, I
But
thought...
no, we played when we were 3 or 4 years old.
I thought,
my mother would take me over to your house.
Yes, but I thought catechism
maybe.
Did you have to go to catechism?
Well, after 3rd grade, we switched to Fallbrook. So then
you did
we had to go to catechism.
That's what I thought. I could have sworn you were in fact, you were in CCD.
Once Fallbrook opened, then my parents said, we don't have to pay
But you were in CCD when John F. Kennedy died.
No, I was in 1st grade.
Okay, then it was later. But I'm trying to think, like Steve Perler and those guys were all in CCD when they said, they sent us home, I think. Oh, no, they canceled it. We didn't have to go.
But I remember the day he died.
Yeah.
And like the sun was behind some clouds, and there's like, oh, there, he just went to heaven.
Well,
it was quite a day. I remember.
We're gonna wrap it.
All right. See, we could go on.
Yeah.
Hey, you're watching Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella. Thank you to our sponsors, the whole crew here that comes in here every single Thursday. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching. We are out of time. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you in part through the generous support of N.P. Crowley Company Incorporated and by Landmark Self-Storage in Leominster, landmarkselfstorage.com, and by DeCarolis Insurance Agency Incorporated. DeCarolisInsuranceAgency.com. And by Enterprise Bank. Enterprise Bank, create success. EnterpriseBanking.com.
This is LTV.